Hey y'all, it's your favorite co-host for the book world, The Great Escape. I'm CJ Peterson, and my co-host that way is Mr. Mike Clifton. And you're getting the rare view into my living room because I still have two sprained ankles. So you get to see what my living room still looks like. I have my friends, Baby Yoda, Dobby's here. I have a monkey over here. And yeah, it's fun. So how are you, Mr. Mike?
Oh, that's, doing fine. It's been a busy week so far. Fixing to get busier.
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, we have graduation. I'm on the school board at Chapel Hill, and today we had the honors breakfast for the honors graduates. Tomorrow
Oh,
we have a
fun.
board meeting, and Friday we have high school graduation. So,
Fun.
it is. It's a culmination of course, high school graduation is always quite an accomplishment for all the graduates.
Mhm.
And new lives. Many of them are going off to college, others to trade schools, others are going straight to the workforce. So,
Awesome.
yep,
It's kind of wild watching them all grow up. I know I've been was a youth leader for 18 years, and watching them go to woes, and some of them I'm still in contact with, has just been kind of a little bit of a wild ride.
it's when I back in the day when I graduated from high school, I had 1,000 in my class and in my graduating class, and you could walk the hallways for all 4 years and many times not come across the same person twice. But at
Wow.
this Chapel Hill, which is a 3A school, we got about 350 in high school, and uh, was there 38 years as a teacher, coach, and administrator, and got to see thousands of kids come through. But I got to know them pretty well, as which was quite a blessing. And many of them are now successful. In fact, CJ, I knew it was time to retire when the students I first had children whose children I now had as students. I thought
Oh my
that's
gosh.
yes. So it was time to retire.
Definitely. That would do it. Be
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I have no time to go."
Yeah. I had your grandparents. Did you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, it's time to go now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, today is one of if it's one of yours, it's one of my favorite days. It's book review day. We haven't had one for a few months, mainly because we've had other issues come up, and instead of taking away from the other topics, we take away from book reviews. But I still do them on my um, website under the Shelf Life blog. I still do those regularly, and I do them for Lone Star Literary Life as well. So you can always catch them there.
Yep.
So, what book are you going to do today?
So my book today, I don't know if you can see this, is that, yeah. So it is The Detail by author Dana Wayne.
Okay.
And it is she writes in the romance genre. In this particular case, The Detail is kind of a cop uh, drama slash romance story. She's got the elements of thriller in there. Of course, it does have a very strong romance theme that runs through it. And
That's
that'll be the
because
book
that's
I'm
her
doing
thing.
today. Yep. She's romance genre. Yeah.
Yep, we had her on for that in February, around February 14th-ish. I think it was the 8th or
Yep.
something like that, 8th or 9th.
Yep.
So yeah.
And she's a very gifted author.
hmm
Very good.
So what's this particular book about? You just mentioned kind of.
So again, the detail, as you can see from the book cover, it's about a law enforcement partnership uh, between um, uh, Seth Hamilton and Jess Foster. They are partners that work for law enforcement, and they work together on cases. And the case that sort of brings them together for their relationship is when they are sent to transport a particularly uh, loathsome individual called Jack Walls, who is a violent man who has murdered people, and he takes a special thrill in beating up and murdering women. And his character, Jack Walls, you can say or describe it as sort of a throwback to back when women were possessions, men were the lords of the castle, so to speak. And he he has very little regard for women in general,
Mhm.
and he especially doesn't like women who stand up to him. And when you combine that with a very violent, psychopathic uh, uh, personality, uh, it's not a good combination. And he murders people, lets his temper get out of control. So they are, Seth and Jess are sent to transport him to where he'll be standing trial.
Mhm.
And but
Which I'll
unknown,
bet he loved that because she
oh
would
yeah,
be transporting him and be in charge
right.
of him.
And he starts in on her right from the beginning, calling her all sorts of names, which we won't mention here. But uh, he's uh, he's very graphic in details that he calls her and would do to her, that sort of thing. Unbeknownst to Seth Hamilton, Jess's partner, uh, Walls has some friends that he has contacted who are going to intercept, uh, you know, Seth and Jess, who are transporting him to a different jail to free him, like a jailbreak, so to speak.
Mhm.
Only in this case, it's going to be in transit. It's not
Mhm.
going to be from the jail. It's going to be in transit, and they are successful in that. And it leaves Jess, the main character, sort of, well, it's leaves her. She gets beat up pretty bad, and she ends up uh, basically tossed outside of the road in a wreck. And you have a flood that she has to survive anyway.
Wow.
She circles. They manage to find her. Meantime, Seth, and I don't want to give away the whole story here because it is very good.
Mhm.
Seth's very concerned with her, and through all of this stress of transporting Walls, who has threatened revenge against particularly Seth. I mean, not Seth, Jess.
Mhm.
Uh, it draws them closer together in ways they didn't think possible. They'd known each other, they'd been working together for a while, and they kind of sort of had an attraction toward each other.
Mhm.
Uh, but especially on Jess's behalf, they're both 30 somethings. She's a little reluctant because I guess relationships just don't work out with her for
Mhm.
her. And so they kind of keep each other at arm's length, even though there is an attraction between the two partners, and has been since they started working together. But because of what happened with Walls, his escape, and once he escapes, of course, he plots his revenge against
Her.
her, not Seth. He's a man, but against Jess.
Mhm.
And he plots a normal person uh, who would have escaped, probably going to jail and probably the needle, certain death, death row, that sort of thing, would have hid and gone off to Mexico or to a place that has no extradition, but not Walls, because he's so angry with a woman that has crossed him or showed him up that he's plotting his revenge. And
Mm.
kind of uses the same cast of characters that help, intercept him on transit and allow him to escape. So anyway, the not to I'm not don't want to give the whole story
I was
away
gonna say,
other
might
than
wanna slow down a little.
yeah, other than to say that the circumstances of what had happened
Mhm.
drew the two together in ways they didn't really think they could have. And what I liked about the way Dana Wayne writes
Mhm.
is I think this is her first foray into sort of the detective police kind of drama, if you want to call it that.
Mhm.
But I found her story to be very believable in terms of what actual law enforcement personnel would do, and and it's not stuff she just snatched out of the air and just threw together. It actually follows a logical sequence of events that I think any typical law enforcement person would do. And the other thing I liked about it was, and she told me when I talked to her about it, I don't know that she's ever written a novel like this, is terms of Um, I don't know if thriller's the correct description,
Mhm.
but
Suspense, thriller,
yes, yeah,
action, all
some
that.
right. And I thought she was like, if you read her book, which I highly recommend, it's like she'd been writing it all along. She didn't miss a lick, she didn't miss a beat, and the story flowed logically from beginning to end. Uh,
Mhm.
the ending was fantastic. I thought she did a great job. You know, you with every good book, you have a climax at the end. You know, where you're building up to, the big ending, and any twists or turns that the novel might have had, is usually revealed at that time. And then, of course, what do you have with the romance novels? Uh, you always have a
Mhm.
happy ending.
Yeah.
And anyway, she did a fantastic job. If you like detective novels in terms of the suspense and the thriller aspect,
Mhm.
particularly if you like romance as well, you will enjoy this book, and it will definitely keep your attention from first page to last.
Awesome. So that's The Detail by Dana Wayne.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, mine that I'm bringing today is called Death's Intern. Can you see the cover? By
Yes.
DC Gomez. And DC is a unique writer. She has a lot of humor in her writing. There's a lot of action, there's a lot of other stuff going on, but there's a lot of humor that's kind of like just slightly under everything. Um, from Texas Sisters Press, we do an anthology each year, and she's been in both years. And her stories literally crack me up. So, Death's Intern is the first book in a series, and it's a unique perspective. It's a unique kind of it's an interesting thought process. Uh, this young girl's name is Isis, and she literally turns out she accidentally killed Dust's first intern. So because of that, she has to take over that position. And she's just like this regular nobody sort of thing. She's working in Texarkana, Texas, at this little restaurant called Abuelitas. And she's just like, doing her thing. And then comes to find out that Des, like, hey, you took my intern. So that means you're now my intern. So she's like, wait a minute. Come to find out, she's actually got a little bit of a crew to help her. One of them is this cat that kills me. His name is Constantine. And I actually have one of her T-shirts that says, "I survived the apocalypse in Texarkana," with a picture of a cat on it. She has these really cute T-shirts that go with it. But um, this intern diary series is what it's from. It's really good, and she's just a phenomenal writer. It's hysterically funny, but it's kind of like you don't know who to trust because there's this underlying group of supernaturals. And in this case, it's a coven of witches that have kind of
Hmm.
gone over the wrong side and over the top. And so she's trying to stop them from taking people literally. They're I'm not going to tell you what they're trying to do, but they're trying to do something and she's trying to stop them. And there's like car bombings. She keeps destroying vehicles, and they're like, we can't keep giving you a vehicle if you keep killing it. And Constantine even has a car, and he ends up giving it to her and says, do not wreck this car or you're dealing with me. And this Constantine cat is like 5,000 years old. You know, he's like from Egypt. So he's been around for a while. And it's funny because it has a lot of things that, you would think of but you almost don't wanna say, like, "Are you kidding me right now? How did I end up here?" Who do you trust in Texarkana? Because you don't know who's on which side or who even knows about the supernatural world. And so it's pretty unique and it's fun, and I cannot wait for the next one. But I definitely recommend it because 'cause she's got a sense of humor that will have you literally cracking up. She also has, like, this crazy cat lady series, which this grandma type person ends up being a gun runner. So she gets these characters in interesting situations. Like I said, I mean, who would ever think that they would be the intern for death? Literal death. You know, the angel of death's intern. That's who she is. And she ends up getting some interesting powers that go along with it, but it's just hysterically funny. Yet I read it in like 2 days, maybe. And that's with everything that I do. And I definitely gave this one 5 stars. So again, it's called Death Intern. And this one is the from the Intern Diary series. This is book one. She's redone all the covers. I do have the older covers upstairs. But again, they're upstairs and I'm on crutches, so I am not going upstairs to get it. So we had to do the Kindle version. But the new covers are pretty good. It's definitely a good read. She's also a USA Today bestselling author. Just kind of mention that out there for you there, Miss DC. But you can find it on her website as well. So question for you, Mike. Why do we do these?
Why do we do book reviews?
Yep.
Well, I would say a couple of reasons. Number one, to give authors recognition, particularly indie authors
Mhm.
who write good books, but they don't. They're not. Their last name doesn't start with King or Grisham or Baldacci. So independent authors that can get reviews. It's always something that's great for them. Book reviews are very important to indie authors
Mhm.
because it gets you recognition and it gets you sales as well. And two, for people who watch Book World or who are avid readers,
Mhm.
there are lots of books out there that you may not be aware of, including the ones that we review that you might like to read.
Mhm.
And so I hope that the reviews we do pique the interest of potential readers so they can go out and get books like from DC Gomez and from Dana Wayne.
Mhm.
Um, and uh, and it's I just think it's important to recognize, especially independent authors who work very hard at their craft. And book reviews are always something to be treasured uh, and important to them.
Definitely. And it's trying to get reviews period for any author is a complete and utter nightmare. There's ways that you can help. The best way you can help an author is to do a review.
Exactly.
So, what
Exactly.
are the different places? Because you don't just you can't you can put it on more than just on Amazon.
Sure. Well, you have BookBub, you have um, you have Amazon, of course, which is probably number one. You have some of the brick and mortar stores like Barnes and Noble. You can do reviews on. You have lots of digital platforms like Draft to Digital, um Kobo, um, iBooks. What are
Goodreads.
Goodreads? Oh, Goodreads is a big one.
Mhm.
Goodreads and Amazon. I would rank probably as two of the most important. Goodreads because it is a platform for readers that a lot of people will who are members of Goodreads are not themselves authors, but they're readers,
Mhm.
and they get their next books from the reviews that show up in their inbox from Goodreads,
Mhm.
particularly in the genres that they read. And of course, Amazon has about 80%, maybe more now, of the ebook market. So any reviews you do on Amazon are always because it affects the algorithms and whose books are noticed first, that sort of thing.
Well, and also if you got the book, you can also do it on like Barnes and Noble and stuff like
Right.
that, wherever it's at. The beauty of Goodreads is Amazon has been known to pull reviews
Mm,
or not post reviews
good
for
point. Good point.
strange and unknown
Right.
reasons. And I've had them where they've been on there for literally years, and all of a sudden Amazon goes, well, it goes against policy. How does it go against policy if it's been there for years? Or you put it up and they won't allow it to go through. And it's like, well, what's wrong with it? Because there's nothing wrong with the review.
Yeah.
It just I put a picture up that yes, I have this book and yes, I did read the book and you can tell by the review that I read the book. And it's sometimes it's painful to deal with Amazon. But you can still do your best to get it up there, or you can simply go to Goodreads. You can go to Barnes and Noble. You can go to, wherever the book itself is listed. And the best way to find those is to actually go to the author's website. I noticed on Dana Wayne's when I was putting her stuff up that the details actually right up front, so you can't miss that. But the links tend to go below there. I know mine are on my series page. Yours are on whichever series that they're on. And
Well,
so the best way to do it is to just kind of go to those particular links and just click on it and put the review on it and let it go, and you will help an author
yeah,
immensely.
you make a good point in Amazon when they inexplicably remove a review, and other times, I mean, I've had them remove reviews that I've done, and then 2 weeks later, no problems
Hmm.
with the review. Um, One of the things about Amazon, I think that uh, if to assure a review and to add added weight to the algorithms is if you are a verified
Hmm.
purchaser of the book. And a lot of times, authors will have ebook sales. They'll sell their books for 99 cents. Some of them sell their ebooks for 7.99 to 8.99. But the point is, whether it's 99 cents or above, if you buy an ebook, that makes you a verified purchaser of the item on Amazon, and therefore your review is much more likely to stick, so to speak.
Doesn't
Uh,
always, but
but
yes,
not
it
always,
does.
not always.
It's still,
But
yeah.
you do manage to get over a few more hurdles that way.
Hmm.
So, which I've found.
And I don't
Um,
understand it because it's like with social media nowadays, people are like, well, that's your friend. Well, they're following me and they're technically an online friend, but they're also a reader and they're trying to post a review and Amazon won't let them because you supposedly know the person.
well,
I've been banned from posting reviews for like 4 months because of that, and I'm like, you got to
well,
be kidding.
Well, you're doing a blog. You're doing blogs and reviews now for Lone Star Literary Life,
Mhm.
okay? And most of their traffic is from bloggers.
Mhm.
And many authors go to Lone Star Literary Life, myself included, to do blog tours. In
Mhm.
my case, I do a blog review tour. That's normally what I do, but in some cases, it's simply a blog tour there where they're commenting on, the author or aspects of their writing. But in doing so, you are inevitably going to share.
Like
Uh,
cross pollinate with
Yes,
your
yeah.
friends. Yeah.
You're going they're gonna be they'll be on your social media follower or contact, and it's just inevitable, and the
Like,
more
isn't
pop
that the point of social media?
right,
I mean,
right, and ironically, the more popular your blog, the more likely that is to happen because you
mhm.
have more followers, so it doesn't make any sense.
It
I
doesn't,
I
and it's
I
painful.
don't waste my time trying to figure it out anymore.
I don't
Yeah.
either. And like I said, it can be fine on one and not on another, or I'm just I tell Christine, I'm like, it's the phase of the moon and the mood of the reviewer.
I do I do wanna add one more thing. Let me see if because I didn't know if I really had this up as close as you did on the camera. So, okay, so it froze. So, is that clear there? Or is that
Yes. Just
okay,
kinda tilt it up a little.
there we
There you
go.
go. There you go.
Okay,
Now you got it.
so I've known Dana Wayne for a number of years now,
Mhm.
and, um, she is a very impressive writer.
Mhm.
You very rarely, even with mainstream authors nowadays, you'll be reading something and you come to well, let me reread that again because it didn't quite make sense. Don't matter if it was a fragmented sentence, some sort of grammatical error, whatever. And these are people with legions of editors,
Mhm.
that go through that with a fine tooth comb. But one of the things that impresses me about Dana Wayne is um, her books are always well written from start to finish.
Mhm.
The content is always spot on. So I've really, I've actually done some critiquing of some, including half the time it's a waste of time because I can't find anything, to really, point out. So anyway, just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there.
Yeah, I mean, when you can find an author that, you would read all their books for. I know I've read all of your books, and I love reading your books. I've read most of DC's. I have one of Dana's upstairs. Chases something.
Chasing
What is
Hope. Chasing
Chasing
Hope.
Hope?
Hmm.
Yep, I still need to get to that one. But I do book swaps at a lot of book shows.
Oh yeah.
And so I've got like 50 books up there now, 60 books, something like that. And over half of them are signed. And
Oh,
it's a great way to, help authors and give exposures to authors. And it's just a great thing to do.
it is. It's awesome.
Hmm.
I I do have uh, something that I am finally getting to see the end of the light at. And you've my series, The Conquest of the Veil.
Yes, and I love that
Okay.
series.
And the fourth and last book, which is Cavern of the Veil Queen,
Hmm.
is just about finished.
Oh,
And
good.
I started writing this particular story like 15 or 20 years ago. And I think I've shared to you that when I first wrote the rough draft of it, which I was very proud of, it was a million word count. And I thought that was I thought that was a normal sized book.
And you've
Uh,
since learned the error of your ways.
oh my gosh, yes. So anyway, I condensed it down.
Don't
This is the
worry,
fourth and last
those
book.
who would like to read it, the books are not that long. Not
Right,
anymore.
right. No, they're not. I'm reading Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind, and it is literally that thick.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
that's
yeah,
too
if
much reading for
when
me.
I finished with it, I'm probably going to use it for a doorstop or something. But
Well, and it's funny because I did see something on Facebook the other day, and I thought, that's actually true. We will sit down and we will binge watch movies of like 8 or 10 episodes, or we'll read like 8 or 10 books in a series, but if it's all in one, like a 8 or 10-hour movie, or, an 800 to 800,000 word book, we won't pick it up because it's too big. But it's like if we can get them into smaller bites, we just
there
it's
you
kind of like
go.
you feel less overwhelmed. Let's put it that way.
Imagine what kind of books not J.R.R. Tolkien would have if he was writing the Lord of the Rings trilogy today.
Yeah,
I don't think it'd be what, 2 books, 3, it would be like 6 or 8.
it would have to be,
Yeah, because people's
definitely.
attention span, I think nowadays
Mhm.
just aren't what they used to be.
No,
No War and Peace books out there. I don't guess we'll ever make a
no,
bestseller list again.
not anymore. They make great doorstops, but that's about it. So next week we have heroes and anti-heroes. Would you like to explain to everybody what an anti-hero is? Because a hero is obvious.
Well,
Just quickly.
an anti-hero is the last person you would expect to be a hero. They have all the characteristics of that the anti-hero doesn't have. They're not brave. They're not strong. They have characteristics that we actually try to cover up. So they're anti-hero, great, strong, fantastic.
Mhm.
Anti-hero, you're kidding. This person?
Yeah, that's Death's Intern, by the way. So that's
Yeah,
like a perfect example of it. But
right.
okay, so next week, 1 o'clock Wednesday, 1 o'clock Central Time. Um, make sure to tune in for. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about heroes and anti-heroes. Exactly, maybe ways and tips and tricks on how to do it and do it correctly. In the meantime, I have actually reached celebration time. Woo! I reached over 100 on my YouTube channel. So thank you very
Oh,
much for
yeah.
those who are following. And also, June is my birthday month. I celebrate the entire month of June. So, for those who have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to it and then take a screenshot of it and email it to me to cjpetersonwrites at yahoo.com. And you will be added to my newsletter if you're not already on there. And it's only bi weekly, I don't spam. And the other thing, you will be entered in for a $10 Amazon gift card. So easy peasy type stuff. So that's going to be for the entire month of June. I'm going to spin live on June 30th at 11 a.m. Central Time on my YouTube channel. I'm going to spin the wheel of names, and we're going to see live who gets the $10 gift card for my birthday month. And this year I'm turning 50.
50.
Yep. So I own every single one of those years. I'm proud of those years, and we're going to be celebrating all month long.
50's the new 30.
Definitely. All right, y'all. We'll see you next week at 1 o'clock Central Time, 1 o'clock p.m. Central Time, same place that you saw it today, or head over to our YouTube channels, and we will see you